Tzu Chi volunteers in Jordan hand out rice to the needy with the help of a taekwondo coach and his athletes. And we get an in-depth look at why Ecuadorian residents are still awaiting quake assistance and the difficult rebuilding efforts. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Marilee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program in Jordan. 100 tons of rice from Taiwan has arrived in the country. Local Tzu Chi volunteers have continued to gift it to the refugee families and the needy during their monthly distributions. Recently, Hader, a taekwondo coach, led his athletes and their parents to help at a Tzu Chi distribution at an all-boys school.
Hader, a taekwondo coach, leads Tzu Chi volunteers to visit poor students at their school and also give them rice.
And for our city.
I know Tzu Chi comes from Taiwan, so thank you. I want to offer my sincere appreciation.
Hader taught at Al Hussein Secondary School for boys before he retired. He also took his taekwondo students and their parents to Zarqa to give care to Bedouin people.
I believe the people of Zarqa will thank you for everything you have done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
100 tons of rice from Taiwan can reduce the burden of the poor, the sick, and the orphanage that is running out of food.
我们在要做这个食物的见证。
We will donate food. We will donate half a ton of rice, plus some sugar, cooking oil, and salt.
其他的糖、油盐。
Tzu Chi's monthly visit to Syrian refugees makes them feel there's hope in life. This girl once suffered from imperforate anus, but this Tzu Chi volunteer from Xiamen, China, used the internet to raise the medical fee for her. The girl has now completely recovered from the surgery. This proves that love can conquer everything.
In Taiwan, most residents in Donghe Township of Taidong often delay seeking medical treatment because it is not so readily available to them. A 5-day free clinic was recently held by the Social Medical Service Group from Taipei Medical University. Apart from offering medical services, this group also brought care and compassion to local residents.
Because I don't have a serious illness, I can go to the doctor on my own.
60% of Donghe Township Taidong is mountainous, so most of the young adults leave their hometown to work, causing many elderly people to live alone. Their lives become more difficult once they are sick.
I won't fall if I'm not dizzy, but I may fall if I feel dizzy.
The Social Medical Service Group from Taipei Medical University has come to Donghe Township, offering local residents free medical services since they know there's more assistance needed in this remote area.
Elderly people usually suffer from multiple illnesses, so they need to visit doctors from different departments to receive medical treatment and health care. However, properly carrying out this health care and treatment is a difficult job.
This is the 5th time that these senior students from Taipei Medical University, Yang Zhuting, has served free medical services. She has a great deal of experience offering medical services in remote areas.
There are still many elderly people in Taiwan's remote areas needing our care, so I think we should offer a variety of medical treatments to meet their needs.
This free clinic has not only made up for the insufficient medical resources in remote regions, but also comforted solitary seniors living in these areas. After this experience, these students have been further motivated to pursue their career in medicine.
Post-921 earthquake in Taiwan, many displaced residents moved into Tzu Chi's DaAi Village while waiting for their homes to rebuild. This disaster grouped together many strangers into one place. But because they were all disaster victims, in a way, it helped the survivors to form close bonds with one another. To this day, the friendships made there remain a big part of their lives. One can see Mrs. Chen values the time at the village as she still has the wall hanging from Tzu Chi in her home.
This was given to us when we first got to the temporary housing. It's our memento of blessing.
After her home collapsed in the 921 earthquake, Mrs. Chen's family of 5 lived in the DaAi Village for 2 years while waiting for their home to rebuild. It's been 15 years since they have moved back, but they will always remember the times in the village fondly.
一家人住在草屯大爱村，等待重建。
We all liked it. It was quite heartwarming.
The eldest child of Mrs. Chen was in the 7th grade back then and often played big brother to many of the village children. Now at the ripe age of 30, he's still quite young at heart. The devastating quake forced some residents to move into a DaAi village, but actually the friendships they formed while living there was strong.
Everyone held a candle and prayed together.
The children of the village were quite close. We still keep in contact.
Making friends at the DaAi village, the 3 Chen children and Yang Rongxuan were thick as thieves. When the 2 families were moving out, Yang even asked his mother to purchase a home within walking distance to the Chen family. Starting out as strangers, it was living in the same DaAi village that forged their long friendship.
It was a heartwarming place.
Really, I thought it was great. I stayed for 5 years and didn't want to move. It was only when they began to dismantle that I finally looked for a new place.
Yes, 5 years. I won't forget those years.
Each housing unit is only about 40 square meters, but it's fully equipped with all the necessary components. The village used to hold events to comfort the residents' lingering emotions of the quake disaster.
There was a basketball court to play on at the DaAi village.
These 2 friends, whose path of education and work took them to different cities, still manages to remain close.
He's my best friend growing up. He's irreplaceable.
The DaAi village they lived in was turned into a park, but a few residents would still visit to reminisce. It's been 17 years since the 921 earthquake, and though their friendship began due to a disaster, it nonetheless helped them value the bond ever more. Master Zheng Yan has said great intentions require great effort. The Tzu Chi Junior Academy in Portland, after years of careful management and help from parents, was officially promoted on July 15th to a Tzu Chi Academy, becoming the 24th such academy in the United States. To commemorate the event, a special opening ceremony was held with teachers, parents, and students attending.
A new banner was hung at the entrance of the school as it was upgraded to a full Tzu Chi Academy, with the motto of the school being compassion and joy, honesty and faithfulness.
It's not called a Chinese language school, but one which stretches the humanistic spirit of Tzu Chi and integrates this into the curriculum. In this regard, the Overseas Community Affairs Commission fully supports this endeavor.
All guests expressed their best wishes at this opening ceremony and celebration. More than 130 students had registered for classes, as the principal said that American-born Chinese needed to understand their own culture.
I think that children should understand and recognize their cultural roots and how they are unique as they integrate into American society. This is the way for them to become confident and grow in a happy and healthy manner.
A truly multicultural education is now possible in this community after 11 years of effort from numerous Tzu Chi volunteers and teachers, making today's celebration all the more special.
We begin the second part of our program with a look in South America. On April 16th this year, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake occurred off the coast of Ecuador. Over 30,000 people were affected in the disaster, with many homeless and still awaiting assistance. There will be a long road to total recovery and housing all those who lost their homes. We now begin a multi-part series examining the plight of residents in Ecuador who are still struggling after the massive April earthquake.
The earthquake lasted a full 49 seconds. The epicenter was 27 kilometers off of the northwest coast of Ecuador at a depth of 20.6 kilometers.
When
the earthquake occurred, none of the residents knew if the epicenter was in the ocean or on land. Many expected a tsunami and began to rush to higher ground.
They said, "Mayor, a tsunami is on the way." I said, "No, there's no tsunami coming." But all the citizens were expecting one. It was like an exodus in the night.
With the fear of a tsunami imminent, the city of Pedernales became a ghost town in just 3 hours, with residents fearing for their homes and their lives.
We heard everyone yelling. The only thing I could do was try to remain calm for my family.
The quake that occurred on April 16th was the largest the region has seen in nearly 70 years, with an estimated 30,000 people affected. In the 2 northern provinces, a total of over 16,000 structures were damaged, with 4,973 buildings completely collapsed and 10,600 with other damage. 4 months after the disaster, and rubble is still being cleared, the city's appearance has completely changed.
Behind that white building where all the trucks are located, we used to have a hospital, a government hospital. So that was affected as well during the earthquake.
Following the quake, the commercial district of Manta City was deserted in a single night. The walls of damaged structures have revealed improper building practices. After surveys, it has been revealed that builders were using sea sand as a building component. The structures never received proper geologic surveying before construction, and many of the building's dimensions exceeded regulations.
Most of these structures were designed to hold 2 floors, and these owners, they started adding more floors because of mostly businesses, okay? And because these businesses, they were growing and they needed more space.
In the future, buildings like this 4-level structure behind me are likely to become a rare sight by the Ecuadorian coastline. That's because after this quake, the government has already passed new building laws, stating that structures built by the seaside may not exceed 2 floors.
At the current stage, many earthquake victims have no other choice but to pitch a tent by the shore and continue with their lives. These residents' living conditions have been shown to the world by international media outlets, but their cries for help continue as they continue to wait for assistance and new homes.
The wood for repairing the floors was donated by the former mayor's daughter. Now some wood is being used to provide shade for children during the day because it is too hot out in the sun.
The housing problem is being further complicated by what many are calling a poor plan for redevelopment. Many say the rehousing plan proposed by the government will take far too long to implement.
The government has a plan to gradually provide permanent housing. They expect by 2020 everyone will be covered. But many people say this is too long because the earthquake victims cannot live that long without a home.
According to the rehousing plan drafted by the government, those that were renting their residence will be provided a stipend equivalent to half of a year's rent to assist in their resettlement. For those homeowners whose houses were partially damaged, $4,000 will be supplied to each household as a grant for repairs. However, for homeowners whose house was entirely destroyed, the government has proposed that public housing will be provided, but 10% of the building cost must be paid by the applicant. However, the complicated problem remains of what will happen to the original property of those homeowners.
We live here. This property belongs to many people in our family. Given the situation, we can't go to the Ministry of Urban Development to register for assistance. There can be only one property owner.
In cases like Maita's, where the property is owned jointly by the whole family, rebuilding will be a complicated issue. For now, she chooses to live elsewhere. It is certain that no one will ever forget the destruction that occurred on April 16, 2016. Many problems of the aftermath remain to be solved. As the new residents wait for assistance to solve their housing crisis, the region will maintain its pace towards recovery.
After starting the Manahal Primary and Secondary School in January of 2015, Tzu Chi volunteers found that some children weren't able to go to school because they were asked to earn money to support the family's income. Also, as these schools use borrowed space, students would have to go to a nearby mosque to study when the facilities were needed. Volunteers believe such short-term solution isn't in the best interest of the children, as a request was put in to the Turkish government, who has now pledged 5,600 square meters of land to build a new school for these Syrian students.
These young people playing soccer on this campus are Syrian refugees. Many of them have worked as child laborers. 16-year-old Mohammed becomes sad when he remembers this period of his life when he was helpless.
After coming here, everything changed, as I had to go to work every day, departing home at 7 a.m. and coming back at 7:30 p.m. My workload was very heavy and difficult, making me really tired. When I came home at 7:30 p.m., I just ate something and then go to bed.
The Syrian civil war, which began in 2011, led many parents to flee the country with their children for the sake of their own survival. Unfortunately, life in a foreign land has left many with no choice but to enlist their child in menial work.
More than half of the children are out of school and working, often in the informal sector.
According to UNICEF statistics, the number of refugee children globally caused by war is more than 28 million. This is not just a huge number, but is actually a lot of unhappy faces. Thinking back upon the days of a child laborer, Sawa immediately loses his smile. It wasn't until September 2015, when he was able to get books and go to school, that his smile come back as he regained hope.
When I got to school, I could begin to learn different languages. I thank Allah for this. I hope my homework can improve and become better, and realize my dream of becoming an outstanding student.
Sawa's dream is to become a doctor treating Syrians. Attending the Manahal Secondary School is helping him achieve these dreams. On January 2015, with cooperation between Turkish government and Tzu Chi assisting more than 500 Syrian school children, helping them carry out their dreams.
Now the happiest thing that I can do is to go to school and study. The teacher loves us and my friends like me.
To help child laborers return to school at the end of 2015, the addition of the second and third Manahal primary and secondary schools led more child laborers to go back to school, adding 500 smiling faces, bringing the total number to 2,400.
Syrian children which used to go and work are now being gathered together by Europe Foundation in this school. The students and the teachers here are very happy. Other Syrian schools do not have such a good environment and won't accompany the children like you do.
Education is giving these children hope. However, borrowing a Turkish school puts them at risk of returning it at some point in the future. It means that Manahal students may need to go to a nearby mosque to study.
For me, at least there is a place to study. Although it's very cold here, I don't think there is anything wrong with studying here.
For us Turkish people, if there are suddenly more Turkish students, then Syrians can no longer use the school. Actually, we must give them a school they can use on a long-term basis.
The Turkish government has promised to provide 5,600 square meters of land for a school.
What these people from Syria need the most is education. And what we want to teach them is that school isn't only a place for education, but also a place for familial warmth.
The small area, which is only half a football field, contains infinite hope and happiness, potentially putting big smiles on the faces of many Syrian children.
17 students from Taiwan's Chaoyang University of Technology spent their summer vacation as international volunteers in Tanzania, East Africa. Their mission was to establish a library in a remote village, and they also managed to collect more than 1,000 English books for local children. Working together with local residents, the library was completed within 2 weeks. This is Tanzania, East Africa. A group of students from Chaoyang University of Technology in Taiwan are building a small library in this village. Besides building a library, students also brought some 1,000 English books from Taiwan to build local children's knowledge. A ceremony was held to mark the opening of the library. Pictures of the Taiwanese and Tanzanian flags are drawn on the front of the library. One can see the excitement on children's faces as they run onto the sports field waving flags in the air. 17 students and teachers from Chaoyang University of Technology in Taiwan are spending their summer vacation as international volunteers here in Tanzania. This experience has helped them realize the joys that comes with helping others.
It's a different world to ours. The people are different. They have a different lifestyle and way of life.
All the students feel a sense of accomplishment to see the library completed because it's a project they carry out all on their own.
Crossing all racial and language barriers, these Taiwanese students have made the most of their vacation by bringing love to East Africa. In Indonesia, Tzu Chi volunteers headed to Jakarta to run vegetarian stalls in 2 malls, Cililitan Wholesale Center and Mall Kelapa Gading. They promoted the benefits of vegetarianism as well as invited local residents to enjoy delicious food while contributing to local charity.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Indonesia have come to Cililitan Wholesale Center in Jakarta to run vegetarian stalls. All of the goods sold out in a very short amount of time.
Tadinya aku pikir seperti sate ya. Jadi kebetulan memang.
My children like to eat satay, so I came here to buy it. This is vegetarian, so I bought it to try the taste.
Vegetarian ya dari sayuran. Kenapa tidak gitu? Aku pengen coba.
Pada dasarnya nasi vegetarian di sini kita sudah.
We have been promoting instant rice in this wholesale center for years. We run vegetarian stalls here, this time every year. This event is popular among many staff members. The instant rice sold out earlier today.
Everyone in attendance knows that the money volunteers earn from selling the goods is used for charity, as the sale is widely supported by many residents.
Kami juga berterima kasih ya kepada Yayasan Tzu Chi tentunya yang ikut serta di hari ini.
We thank Tzu Chi. All of us know that Tzu Chi volunteers have long been devoted to emergency assistance and disaster relief work.
A similar event was also held in Mall Kelapa Gading, where people were encouraged to support charity activities as well as safeguard their health by eating vegetarian food.
In Taiwan, to help Typhoon Mirandi victims in澎湖, Tzu Chi volunteers prepare for an aid distribution by packing material goods into 400 packs, ensuring victims' needs are taken care of in a time like this. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.